Have you ever experienced a shift in your awareness, an awakening where suddenly life feels different, clearer, and more meaningful? After such a transformation, the people around you matter more than ever. Some will lift you, while others can drain your energy, block your growth, or even pull you back into old patterns. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 types of people you must avoid after awakening. Recognizing them early will help you protect your peace, your progress, and your purpose. You know the type of person I'm talking about, the ones who seem to suck the life out of a room without even realizing it. After awakening, you start noticing your energy is more sensitive, more refined. You feel the shift inside of you, the clarity that comes with knowing your purpose and your truth. And suddenly being around certain people doesn't feel neutral anymore. It feels heavy. Energy vampires are those who thrive on complaints, criticism, and drama, and they don't care who they drain along the way. You might have tolerated them in the past, thinking it was just normal human interaction, but now you feel the difference. These people often disguise their behavior as casual conversation or concern. They'll vent endlessly, telling you about every injustice, every frustration, every minor inconvenience in their lives, as if your shoulder is meant to carry it all. You listen politely at first because that's what kindness and empathy look like. But over time, it becomes clear that nothing you say, nothing you do, changes the cycle. Their energy isn't neutral, it's magnetic in a way that pulls you down, pulls your focus away from your awakening, and keeps you trapped in someone else's unresolved chaos. You might catch yourself leaving an interaction with them and feeling inexplicably exhausted, even if you didn't physically do anything strenuous. That's the hallmark of an energy vampire. They feed off attention, sympathy, and your willingness to absorb their negative emotions. And the tricky part is they rarely realize what they're doing. They're often charming, funny, or deeply persuasive, which makes it easy to rationalize spending time with them. But after awakening, your intuition is sharper, and your spirit will subtly whisper, "This isn't good for you." Listening to that whisper is crucial. The danger of continued exposure to these individuals isn't just emotional fatigue, it's spiritual distraction. Awakening often comes with a heightened sense of purpose, a new alignment with who you truly are. Energy vampires, without intending to, pull you back into the old cycles of worry, fear, and emotional drama. You may start doubting your clarity or question why you feel tired, irritable, or off balance. And if you ignore it, this slow, persistent drain can begin to compromise your growth, your confidence, and your peace. One of the most important skills after awakening is learning to set boundaries, and energy vampires are the perfect test of this skill. It's not about anger or confrontation. It's about protecting your energy in a quiet, firm way. You don't need to cut them out harshly, but you do need to be intentional about how much time you spend around them, how deeply you engage, and how willing you are to carry their burdens. Sometimes just reducing exposure is enough. Sometimes you must say no, firmly but kindly, and accept that they may react with confusion or hurt. Their response is not your responsibility, it's theirs. The lesson here is simple but profound. Your energy is sacred. After awakening, you realize that what you allow in your life directly impacts your clarity, your focus, and your peace. Energy vampires are not villains. They're people trapped in their own unresolved patterns, but your role is not to fix them. Your responsibility is to yourself, to protect your growth, and to honor the awakening that has shifted your life. You can still be compassionate and caring, but you can do it without sacrificing your energy. Recognize the signs early and don't be afraid to step back. Your awakening demands it and your life deserves it. After awakening, one of the most shocking realizations is how some people react to your transformation. Suddenly, the excitement, clarity, and purpose you carry in your life become threatening to them. Naysayers are the ones who cannot celebrate your growth. They scoff at your choices, question your intuition, and subtly, or sometimes openly, undermine your progress. They may say things like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Or, "That seems unrealistic." But it's not really about advice. It's about their discomfort with change, their fear of losing their familiar reality, and their inability to accept that you are evolving. The tricky part about naysayers is that they often hide behind concern or practicality. They present themselves as grounded, experienced, or even well-meaning, but underneath, there is a resistance to your awakening. They cannot see your path because they are stuck in the limitations of their own thinking. When they respond to your transformation with skepticism or criticism, it's easy to second-guess yourself. You may even find yourself explaining, defending, or justifying your choices as if their approval is necessary for your clarity. But after awakening, you start to realize that seeking validation from naysayers is a trap. These people often trigger self-doubt in subtle ways. A compliment comes with a caveat. Encouragement is paired with hesitation. Support is mixed with judgment. And over time, this constant questioning of your direction can erode your confidence, leaving you hesitant to trust your own intuition. Awakening brings a heightened sense of inner knowing, a voice that speaks louder than external noise. But naysayers are experts at drowning it out if you allow them. The challenge is learning to recognize their influence without internalizing it, understanding that their skepticism says more about them than it does about you. It's also important to recognize that naysayers often project their own fears onto you. They see your courage, your willingness to step into the unknown, and it reminds them of the risks they themselves have avoided. Their critical comments and dismissive attitudes are a reflection of their own limitations. They may not intend harm, but their energy can be toxic to your growth if you're not careful. After awakening, protecting your mental and emotional space becomes essential. You learn to filter their input, accept only what resonates, and leave the rest behind. One of the most empowering realizations is that naysayers can never truly stop you. They can only slow you down if you let them. Your purpose, your clarity, and your awakening are not negotiable. They are not dependent on someone else's approval or understanding. Setting boundaries with naysayers is less about confrontation and more about preservation. You can listen, acknowledge their point of view, and then return to your own truth. Your journey is yours, and it does not require their permission or validation. Learning to navigate relationships with naysayers after awakening is a powerful act of self-respect. It teaches discernment, strengthens your conviction, and allows you to maintain your momentum. You begin to see who genuinely supports your growth and who is stuck in their own fear, projecting it onto you. You realize that their opinions are not truths. They are mirrors reflecting limitations you no longer accept in your life. And in that clarity, you gain freedom. Freedom to step forward without hesitation, freedom to trust your inner guidance, and freedom to protect your peace from those who cannot celebrate it. Ultimately, avoiding naysayers is not about arrogance or isolation. It's about prioritizing your awakening and honoring the path you are on. Growth is fragile, especially in the early stages, and it requires a fertile environment. Naysayers, even unintentionally, can contaminate that environment with doubt, criticism, and negativity. By recognizing them early, limiting their influence, and staying rooted in your own truth, you create space for yourself to flourish. Your awakening deserves protection, and your life deserves the freedom to expand without unnecessary interference. After awakening, one of the most subtle yet dangerous types of people you encounter are the controllers. They are not always aggressive or obvious, but they have a way of inserting themselves into your life, shaping your decisions, and influencing your actions without you even realizing it. Controllers thrive on authority, on knowing what everyone else is doing, and on keeping others within their comfort zone. When someone awakens, when they start following their own truth and listening to their own inner guidance, it threatens the controller. Your newfound clarity exposes their need to dominate or manipulate, and their response can be insidious. Controllers often mask their behavior as guidance, concern, or support. They tell you what's best for you, what you should do, and how you should behave. At first, it can feel like mentorship or advice from a caring friend. But over time, patterns emerge. Decisions that once felt effortless now come with subtle pressure. You notice an expectation to conform, to check in constantly, to justify your choices. Controllers rarely admit that they are trying to influence you. Instead, they cloak their dominance in language that sounds reasonable. The danger is that their influence can quietly erode your independence if you're not vigilant. What makes controllers particularly challenging after awakening is that they often exploit your compassion. Awakening tends to amplify empathy, making you more sensitive to the feelings and needs of others. Controllers know this and use it to their advantage, framing their demands as care or as necessary guidance for your own good. You may find yourself saying yes out of obligation or guilt, even when something inside of you resists. The more you honor your inner voice, the more friction appears between your truth and their desire for control. Recognizing this pattern early is crucial to maintaining your sovereignty. Another characteristic of controllers is their subtle manipulation. They may employ emotional pressure, silent judgment, or even guilt to shape your behavior. Sometimes it's disguised as concern. "I'm just trying to help you avoid mistakes," or "I know what's best because I care." But behind this well-intentioned facade is a desire to maintain influence over your choices, to keep you aligned with their agenda rather than your own awakening path. Their actions are rarely overtly malicious. They're often protective of themselves, of their worldview, or of their need for dominance. But the effect on your growth can be profound if not addressed. Dealing with controllers requires a combination of awareness, boundaries, and inner strength. The key is not to confront with anger or hostility, but to remain grounded in your own truth. You have to learn to listen to your inner guidance more than external pressure. When they suggest, advise, or critique, acknowledge without allowing it to dictate your decisions. This may feel uncomfortable at first, because human relationships are often built on compromise and mutual influence. But after awakening, your priority shifts. Your path, your clarity, and your peace take precedence over pleasing or appeasing a controller. Controllers are also drawn to people in transition because they sense the possibility of molding or influencing a new dynamic. Awakening disrupts the equilibrium they rely on, and they instinctively react. This is why distancing yourself, limiting engagement, and protecting your decisions are acts of preservation, not rejection. You may feel guilt, worry, or even fear of conflict, but these feelings are often a reflection of their influence rather than your true intentions. Trusting your discernment, staying aligned with your own growth, and refusing to bend to subtle manipulation is a revolutionary act. Ultimately, avoiding or limiting contact with controllers is about reclaiming your freedom. Awakening is a sacred process, a journey into self-trust, empowerment, and clarity. Controllers threaten that journey not because they are inherently bad, but because their presence is incompatible with the independence your awakening demands. By recognizing their patterns, setting firm boundaries, and prioritizing your inner guidance, you create the space needed to expand authentically. Your energy, your decisions, and your life belong to you, and protecting them from subtle domination ensures that your awakening is not just a moment, but a lasting transformation. After awakening, one of the most draining types of people you will encounter are the drama seekers. These are the individuals who seem to thrive on chaos, conflict, and constant emotional upheaval. Before your awakening, you might have tolerated this behavior, brushed it off, or even participated in it unconsciously. But once you start living with awareness and clarity, their need for chaos becomes impossible to ignore. Their presence disrupts the calm you are cultivating, pulls you into unnecessary tension, and threatens the peace you've worked so hard to establish. Drama seekers have a way of turning minor inconveniences into major crises. A small disagreement, a misunderstanding, or a minor disappointment becomes the center of the universe for them. They exaggerate, twist, and magnify situations, often drawing others into their storm. At first, you may find it entertaining or even feel a sense of obligation to help, but after awakening, you begin to notice the subtle toll it takes on your emotional and mental state. Every encounter leaves you exhausted, distracted, and mentally cluttered, stealing your energy and focus from the life you are trying to build. One of the most dangerous aspects of drama seekers is that they can be deceptively charming. They know how to draw people in, how to make their chaos seem urgent, and how to make others feel responsible for managing it. Their behavior can trigger old patterns in you: anxiety, people pleasing, or the compulsion to fix things that are beyond your control. Awakening changes your priorities, making these patterns feel unnatural, uncomfortable, and ultimately unsustainable. You start recognizing that engaging with their drama is not helping them, and it is certainly not helping you. Drama seekers often have a way of feeding off your reactions. Your frustration, worry, or even your attempts to mediate become fuel for their next crisis. They may not realize they are doing it consciously, but their energy is chaotic, unstable, and exhausting. After awakening, your sensitivity to energy increases, and you can feel the subtle manipulations or emotional hooks that pull you into their world. It's no longer a matter of avoiding conflict for peace. It's about protecting the clarity and calm that are essential for your growth. Setting boundaries with drama seekers is one of the most powerful steps you can take after awakening. It is not about cutting them out of your life completely unless necessary, but about controlling your level of exposure. Limit conversations that revolve around negativity, gossip, or exaggerated problems. Politely disengage when you notice the patterns starting to repeat. Protecting your energy is an act of self-respect, and it reinforces the fact that your awakening is your priority, not their ongoing chaos. Another critical insight is understanding that drama seekers are often stuck in cycles they cannot see. They are addicted to emotional highs and lows because it gives them a sense of control or excitement in lives that may otherwise feel stagnant. Your awakening does not require you to fix them. It requires you to maintain your own balance. Compassion does not mean participation. You can empathize with their struggles from a distance while keeping your inner peace intact. This distinction is crucial because many people get pulled back into drama out of misplaced responsibility or guilt. Ultimately, avoiding drama seekers is not an act of cruelty, it's an act of preservation. Awakening demands calm, focus, and clarity. Drama seekers, intentionally or not, disrupt all three. The sooner you recognize the pattern, the faster you can reclaim your mental space, your energy, and your emotional equilibrium. You begin to surround yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and support your growth rather than pull you into cycles of chaos. Protecting your space from unnecessary drama is a key step in ensuring that your awakening is not temporary but lasting, allowing you to move forward with purpose, peace, and freedom. After awakening, one of the most surprising types of people you'll encounter are the jealous observers. These are the individuals who watch your growth, your clarity, and your transformation with resentment, envy, or thinly veiled disapproval. Unlike the obvious energy drainers or naysayers, jealous observers operate quietly, often from a distance. They don't always voice their discontent directly, but their energy can feel heavy, subtle, and unsettling. You may notice it in the way they respond to your accomplishments, your new relationships, or the way you carry yourself with confidence. Jealous observers thrive on comparison. When they see you stepping into your purpose, embracing your awakening, or claiming your power, it triggers feelings of inadequacy within them. They may downplay your achievements or subtly dismiss your progress. Their comments might be framed as jokes, casual remarks, or even advice, but the underlying